Let me tell you why some men treat you like a queen and others act like you're invisible. It's not luck and it's not looks. It's the boundaries you set from day one. And if you don't have these 5 in place, you're not just losing respect, you're teaching them how to disrespect you. Today, I'm going to give you the exact boundaries that instantly make men step up or step out. Respect isn't something you ask for like you're ordering it off a menu. It's something you set the table for. And if you want a man to respect you, you can't just sit there hoping he'll figure it out. You got to put up some boundaries so clear they shine like a neon sign in Times Square. Let's get real. These aren't just little rules. These are your non-negotiables. Boundary Fae 1. Stop giving all of you before he's earned any of you. You ever notice how some people treat access to you like it's free Wi-Fi? They just log in without asking for the password. Nope, you're the premium subscription, baby, not the free trial. If a man hasn't invested time, energy, consistency, and effort, then he shouldn't have front row seats to your life. Keep your energy, your time, and especially your personal space for those who prove they can handle it. If you give it all away for nothing, you teach him that the price is cheap. And people don't respect what's cheap. A boundary Fae 2, no tolerance for disrespect, not even the small stuff. Here's the thing, disrespect rarely comes in one giant package. It shows up in little moments. The jokes at your expense, the last-minute cancellations, the I forgot text. And if you keep letting those slide, you're basically saying, hey, I'm fine with being treated like a second option. Don't be fine with it. Call it out. If he raises his voice at you, calmly let him know that's not how you're going to be spoken to. If he's ignoring your calls or texts for days, don't chase, match the energy. Disrespect only survives where silence lives, so speak up. Boundary Fae 3. Your goals and values are not up for negotiation. I don't care how fine he is, how good he smells, or how much he makes you laugh. If he's pulling you away from what you believe in, you're losing more than you're gaining. The man who respects you will fit into your vision, not force you to rewrite it. If you want marriage, don't pretend you're cool with just seeing where it goes, because he's not ready. If you don't want kids, don't agree to maybe, just to keep him around. When you bend too far to fit someone else's life, you disappear from your own. Boundary Fae 4. Protect your peace like it's your paycheck. We've all been there. Drama knocking on your door like it's the Amazon delivery guy. You don't have to open it. If every time you're around someone you feel drained, anxious, or confused, that's your sign. Protect your peace. You don't have to pick up every call. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. And yes, sometimes protecting your peace means walking away, even if it's from someone you care about. When you make your peace a priority, people learn. Real quick, they can't just come in and shake up your world whenever they want. Boundary Fae 5. Never make him the center of your world. Let's be honest, it's tempting. You meet someone you like them, and suddenly you're rearranging your schedule, your plans, your whole life around theirs. But here's the truth. When you make a man the center of your world, you disappear from your own life, and he loses respect in the process. Keep your hobbies, your friends, your grind. Keep your life full so you're with him because you want to be, not because you need to be. A man will respect you more when he sees you've got a whole, thriving life that doesn't depend on him showing up. These 5 boundaries aren't about pushing people away. They're about teaching them how to treat you. The moment you enforce them, you'll notice something. The wrong men will leave and the right men will step up. You have to understand something about human nature. People value what they have to work for, and they take for granted what's handed to them without effort. When you start a relationship or even a friendship by giving someone full access to your time, your energy, your emotions, your personal space, and your body without them proving they deserve it, you are teaching them to expect premium benefits at a discount price. Think about how we treat free samples at the store. You take one, maybe enjoy it for a second, and then you move on without much thought. But when you pay good money for something, suddenly you're careful with it, you protect it, and you make sure you get your value out of it. It works the same way with people. If you allow someone to have front row seats to your life before they've even bought a ticket, you're telling them your life doesn't cost much to enter. And when the price is low, the respect is low, the mistake so many make is thinking that by being overly available, they'll win someone over. You answer every text within seconds. You drop what you're doing to see them. You cancel plans for them. You share your deepest secrets too soon. You let them into your home and your heart before you've even learned if they can handle the responsibility of holding it. And then you wonder why they don't treat you like a priority. You wonder why they're comfortable showing up late, taking you for granted, or pulling away without explanation. The truth is, they were never required to climb any mountain to be with you. You built them a bridge on day one. And bridges are easy to cross, but mountains build strength and appreciation along the way. It's not about playing games or being fake. It's about understanding your own worth and setting the tone from the very beginning. If someone is genuinely interested, they won't run away because you didn't give them everything right away. In fact, the ones who are serious will appreciate that you respect yourself enough to have standards. But the ones who are only looking for convenience or quick gratification will fade out, and that's exactly what you want to happen. Every time you rush to give without requiring anything in return, you create an unbalanced dynamic where you're the one proving your value while they sit back and receive. That imbalance never leads to respect. It leads to entitlement. You have to look at your time and energy like currency. You wouldn't just hand out $100 bills to strangers on the street. So why would you give out hours of your life, emotional investment, and intimate access to someone who hasn't even earned your trust yet? Make them show consistency. Make them show respect for your boundaries. Make them prove that they can handle both your good days and your bad ones without disappearing. Let them show you they can keep their word before you start rearranging your schedule to fit theirs. Let them put in the work to understand who you are before you open every chapter of your book, when you hold back certain parts of yourself until someone has proven they deserve to see them. You're not being cold, you're being wise. You're creating a space for them to rise to the challenge, to invest in you, and to prove they're here for the long haul. You're setting a standard that says, if you want access to me, it's going to cost effort, respect, and time. People respect the boundaries they have to navigate. They respect the treasures they have to earn, and they respect the person who has the confidence to say, I know my value, and it's not available for free. The reason you can't let even the smallest disrespect slide is because those little moments are where the tone of the relationship gets set. Disrespect rarely comes in as a big dramatic event in the beginning. It sneaks in quietly like a small crack in the wall. Joking, at your expense that makes you feel uncomfortable, a last-minute change of plans without an apology, a dismissive tone when you're trying to speak. These things might seem minor if you look at them one by one, but they're actually tests. They're testing whether you'll notice, whether you'll react, and most importantly, whether you'll allow it. If you laugh it off, swallow your feelings, or brush it aside just to keep the peace, you've silently told the other person that they can get away with it. And once they know they can get away with the small things, the big things are only a matter of time. Some people think it's not worth speaking up over something small because they don't want to seem dramatic or sensitive. But the truth is, people who care about you will listen when you tell them something doesn't sit right with you. People who value you will want to understand your boundaries so they can respect them. And the ones who get defensive, mock you for bringing it up, or accuse you of overreacting are showing you that they have no intention of changing. Disrespect doesn't just happen by accident over and over again. It happens because the person doing it either doesn't care enough to stop or knows you won't enforce consequences. That's why calling it out right away is so important. You don't have to raise your voice or start a fight. You can be calm, direct, and firm. The point isn't to punish. It's to make it clear that you see it, you don't accept it, and you're not going to pretend it didn't happen every time you ignore a small sign of disrespect. You chip away at your own self-worth without even realizing it. You start second-guessing yourself, thinking maybe you're expecting too much or being too picky. But the truth is you're just trying to be treated like a human being with value. When you let little things slide, it's not just about them getting away with something. It's about the message you send yourself that your comfort and dignity aren't worth defending. And that's dangerous because once you get used to swallowing your feelings, you stop trusting your own instincts. You start normalizing treatment that should never be normal, and before long, you've built a relationship dynamic where disrespect is woven into the foundation. The most powerful thing you can do is stop giving people a discount version of your boundaries. If someone speaks to you in a way that crosses a line, let them know in the moment that it's not okay. If they cancel on you repeatedly without a valid reason, pull back your availability. If they make a habit of ignoring your calls or messages for days, match that energy and stop chasing. By reacting in real time to the small stuff, you train people on how to treat you. You're showing them that every action matters, that there's no such thing as a harmless little disrespect when it comes to you. You're creating a standard that demands awareness, effort, and consideration. It's not about being perfect yourself or expecting perfection from others. It's about making sure that the people in your life understand that even the smallest gestures carry weight. When someone values you, they'll care about the details, they'll apologize when they're wrong, and they'll actively try not to repeat behaviors that hurt or belittle you. When someone doesn't value you, they'll try to convince you that you're making a big deal out of nothing so they can keep doing it. And that's why every time you let a small disrespect slide, you're opening the door for bigger ones to come in. The way you respond in those moments tells the other person whether they need to step up their respect or whether they can keep cutting corners in how they treat you when you treat your goals and values as non-negotiable. You set a standard for your life that no relationship can compromise. Too many people make the mistake of bending their dreams and beliefs to fit into someone else's world, thinking it will make the connection stronger. At first, it might seem harmless to adjust here and there, to say yes to something you never really wanted, or to stay quiet about what you truly believe so you won't scare someone away. But every time you shrink a part of yourself to keep someone close, you're telling yourself that their approval matters more than your own fulfillment. Over time, those small compromises pile up until you wake up one day and realize you're living a life you never actually wanted. The truth is, your goals are the roadmap to the life you want, and your values are the guardrails that keep you on track. If you let someone come in and start moving those around, you're not just making a relationship compromise, you're letting them redraw your future. If you have a vision for your career, your family, your lifestyle, or your personal growth, you have to protect it from anyone who tries to steer you off course. A person who truly respects you won't try to change those things. They'll support them, even if it means they have to adjust their own path. But if you find yourself explaining over and over why something matters to you, and they still dismiss it, that's not a misunderstanding. That's a lack of respect for your foundation. One of the quickest ways to lose respect in a relationship is to abandon the very things that made you who you are. If you want marriage, but you pretend you're fine with a casual fling just to keep someone around, you're sending the message that your deepest desires are negotiable. If you want children and they tell you they never do, but you decide to stay anyway, hoping they'll change their mind, you're telling them your boundaries are flexible when they should be firm. If you value honesty and they show you dishonesty early on, but you choose to overlook it, you've taught them that your values are optional. People take their cues from how you enforce your principles. If they see you willing to walk away rather than betray yourself, they'll either step up to meet you at that level, or they'll remove themselves from your life, which either way leaves you better off. It's not about being stubborn for the sake of winning an argument. It's about having a clear picture of what you stand for and refusing to live in a way that betrays it. When you hold firm to your goals and values, you naturally filter out the people who aren't aligned with them. That's not a loss, it's a blessing. Because the wrong person will always cost you more than they give, and the right person will add to your vision rather than pull you from it. Sometimes this means making hard choices, like walking away from someone you care about because they want a life completely different from yours. It hurts in the moment, but it saves you from years of frustration, resentment, and unfulfilled potential. The most attractive quality you can have is a life that's already full of meaning, direction, and purpose before anyone steps into it. That means knowing your deal breakers, understanding your dreams, and being willing to enforce both. When someone sees that you're unshakable in the things that matter most to you, they can't help but respect you. Even those who don't agree with your path will have to acknowledge that you have the courage to stand by. And that kind of courage draws the right people in and pushes the wrong ones out without you having to do anything but stay true to yourself. Protecting your peace like it's your paycheck means treating your mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being as something you absolutely cannot afford to lose. Just like you wouldn't let someone play games with your salary, you can't let people play games with your energy. Every day, you only have so much mental space, so much emotional strength, and so much focus to give, and when you spend it on the wrong situations or the wrong people, you're left drained with nothing left for yourself or for the things that truly matter. The truth is, not everyone deserves access to you, and not every conversation, argument, or drama requires your attendance. Your peace is your power, and once you give it away too easily, you become vulnerable to being controlled by chaos. You've probably been in situations where you're constantly on edge, waiting for the next text, the next mood swing, the next argument. That is emotional bankruptcy in the making. You start compromising your sleep, your health, your focus at work, even your relationships with friends and family, all because you're trying to manage someone else's instability. When you protect your peace, you make the conscious choice to not engage in energy-draining behavior. You don't chase down explanations from people who are being intentionally vague. You don't try to convince someone to value you when their actions have already shown you where you stand. You step back, you take a breath, and you decide that your inner calm matters more than winning a fight or proving a point. Sometimes protecting your peace means creating physical distance from people who constantly bring negativity into your space. That could mean limiting the time you spend with them, setting specific boundaries on communication, or cutting contact completely if necessary. Other times it's about creating emotional boundaries, like refusing to take on problems that aren't yours to solve or refusing to let someone guilt you into situations that drain you. It can also mean guarding your mental space by being intentional about the information and conversations you allow in. You can't surround yourself with constant gossip, bad news, and toxic talk and expect to have a peaceful mind. Peace requires you to be selective about people, about energy, about what you choose to entertain. Protecting your peace also means learning the power of silence. Not every insult deserves a response. Not every misunderstanding needs to be untangled, and not every opinion about you has to be corrected. When you stop giving away your energy to pointless battles, you gain the clarity to focus on the things that actually move you forward. The more you practice this, the more you realize how many situations resolve themselves without your interference, simply because you refuse to fuel the fire. You learn that sometimes the strongest move is no move at all, and that protecting your peace doesn't make you weak. It makes you strategic. One of the biggest challenges in protecting your peace is dealing with guilt. You might feel guilty for saying no, for pulling back, or for choosing yourself over someone else's demands. But that guilt is temporary, and the peace that follows is long-lasting. When you put your well-being first, the people who truly care about you will understand, and the people who don't will show their true colors. Either way, you win because you filtered out who can respect your boundaries and who can't. You have to get comfortable with the idea that protecting your peace might disappoint others, but it will never disappoint you. The reality is, peace doesn't just happen. You have to fight for it, defend it, and sometimes sacrifice relationships for it. But every time you choose your peace over unnecessary chaos, You're telling yourself that you matter, that your life is worth living without constant stress, and that you refuse to allow anyone to disturb the balance you've worked so hard to create. And when people see that you operate from a place of calm strength, they learn quickly that you can't be manipulated, provoked, or thrown off course by petty behavior, which makes them respect you even more. Never making him the center of your entire world is about remembering that your identity, your happiness, and your sense of purpose must come from within you and from the life you've built for yourself, not from any one person. It's natural to be excited when you meet someone you really like, to want to spend more time with them, to feel like you can't get enough of their presence. But the danger comes when that excitement turns into dependency. The moment you start rearranging your schedule, putting your hobbies on hold, skipping time with friends, neglecting your personal goals, and centering your every decision around what he wants, you've given him more power over your life than anyone should have. What ends up happening is that your world shrinks until it revolves entirely around him. And that doesn't just make you lose yourself, it often makes him lose respect for you. People are drawn to individuals who have a full and thriving life. Part of what attracted him to you in the first place was likely the fact that you had your own thing going on. You had interests, goals, friends, routines, and a personality that existed independently of him. When you give all that up and make him the sole focus of your world, you take away the mystery, the challenge, and the admiration that comes from watching someone live a complete life on their own terms. It creates an imbalance where you're giving everything and he's giving less, because now he knows you'll always be there no matter what. And when someone knows you'll always be there without having to earn that place, they stop valuing the position you hold in their life. Keeping your own world intact doesn't mean you don't care about him or that you're keeping him at arm's length. It means you're showing him that you are a whole person, not a project for him to complete. You still see your friends regularly, you still pursue your passions, you still make time for your personal goals, and you still nurture the parts of your life that bring you joy outside of the relationship. You make it clear through your actions that while he's an important part of your life, he is not the only thing that gives it meaning. This approach doesn't push someone away. It actually draws them in because they see that your love and attention are precious, not something to be taken for granted. Another danger of making a man the center of your world is that it creates an unhealthy dependency where your mood, your confidence, and your sense of worth rise and fall based on his attention, his approval, and his behavior. If he's attentive, you're happy. If he's distant, you're anxious. If he's affectionate, you feel secure. If he's distracted, you feel unloved. That kind of emotional roller coaster is exhausting and unstable. And it gives him a level of control over your life that no one should have by keeping your own world full and vibrant. You keep your emotional stability intact. You're not crushed when he's busy because you have your own plans. You're not desperate for validation because you validate yourself through your own accomplishments and relationships. Men respect women who respect themselves enough to maintain their independence. It shows confidence, self-awareness, and a healthy understanding of boundaries. When you have a life outside of him, you're not just more interesting, you're more balanced, and that balance keeps the relationship healthy. He knows that if he's going to be a part of your life, he has to add to it, not replace it. He knows that your attention is something he earns by showing up consistently and treating you with care, not something he automatically gets just because he exists in your orbit. This doesn't mean you don't make space for him in your life. It means you make space without erasing the life you had before he came along. The healthiest relationships are built between two whole people who choose to share their lives, not between two half. People who rely on each other to feel complete. When you keep your world full of the things that make you feel alive, you bring more to the relationship, not less. And when he sees that you are perfectly capable of standing on your own 2 feet, with or without him, he has no choice but to respect the strength, the self-love, and the stability you bring into every interaction you share, showing him you can walk away if respect isn't on the table is one of the strongest positions you can hold in any relationship, because it makes it clear that you value yourself more than you value the idea of keeping someone who doesn't treat you right. Too often, people stay in situations far longer than they should because they're afraid of being alone, afraid of starting over, or afraid of losing what they've invested. But the reality is, every day you spend in a place where respect is missing is a day you're teaching the other person that their behavior is acceptable. When you stay, no matter how poorly you're treated, you remove the incentive for them to change, because you've proven that they can do less than their bare minimum and still keep you around. Being willing to walk away doesn't mean you threaten to leave at every disagreement or use it as a manipulation tactic. It means you have a firm understanding of your worth and your boundaries. It means you've decided ahead of time what is and is not acceptable. And if those lines are crossed repeatedly without effort to make things right, you choose yourself over the relationship. People can sense when you have that kind of strength, and it changes how they approach you. When they know you're not afraid to leave, they know they can't rely on guilt, sweet talk, or temporary gestures to keep you around after they've disrespected you. They have to show up consistently with the respect you deserve or risk losing access to you entirely. A lot of people confuse this kind of strength with coldness. But in reality, it's the opposite. It takes deep self-love and care to walk away from someone you care about because they refuse to give you the respect that should be a basic requirement. It's not about punishing them. It's about protecting yourself from being in an environment that chips away at your confidence, your peace, and your happiness. You can still wish them well and walk away. You can still care about them and refuse to stay where you're undervalued. That balance of compassion for others and loyalty to yourself is what makes this boundary so powerful. When you're afraid to walk away, you unintentionally put the other person in the driver's seat of the relationship. They get to decide how much effort they give, how much respect they show, and how much they prioritize you, knowing that you'll stick around no matter what. But when you've made peace with the idea that you can be okay on your own, you take back the steering wheel. You send the message that you'd rather have no relationship than have one that leaves you feeling unseen and disrespected. That level of self-respect is magnetic, and it often inspires people to step up because they realize they're dealing with someone who won't tolerate anything less than what they deserve. Sometimes this means you walk away for good, and sometimes it means you step back until the other person can prove they've made real changes. Either way, you're not sitting around hoping for potential to turn into reality. You're making decisions based on what's actually happening in the present. You're not rewarding empty promises, you're responding to actions. And in doing so, you're showing that your time, your heart, and your presence are valuable enough to be earned and kept through consistent respect, not assumed as a given. The most important part of this boundary is that it's not just something you say, it's something you live. If you tell someone you won't tolerate disrespect, but then continue to stay when it happens, your words lose all weight. But if you back your words with action, you teach people how to treat you in a way that no speech ever could. Walking away when respect isn't there isn't just about ending a bad situation. It's about reinforcing your own belief that you are worthy of better. And once you truly believe that, everyone around you learns to believe it too.